What's up guys, welcome to another video, and today we're going to be doing some rune crafting. It's been quite a while since I've done rune crafts. Mostly it's because I was doing rune crafts on stream just to give me like something more interesting to show on stream, you know, here and there. I usually do, oh, we can keep that. I usually do rune crafting about twice a month. So once before the rune removal event, and then once more like halfway between the two events, because I usually will I buy a rune removal pack like halfway through, and so for that reason I try to craft and see, you know, if there's any rune upgrades I can get, see if there's anything I want to change. But yeah, I've been doing that on stream, as I said, so I haven't recorded this probably for what, I think it's been a couple of months at least, but I'll try to do it again, like start doing it again more often. I probably would do like the runecraft before the event. I'll probably do that, at least do that one recorded. Do I want this? I don't think so. It's actually not terrible. It's got at least has attack and crit rate, but I don't know. Not as a 5-star. If it was a 6-star, I'd definitely keep. This one I'm actually just gonna keep to roll. I try to go for the triple speed. So yeah, I'll just be warned that this video will probably be quite long. Usually my runecrafts takes quite a while. But I do try to talk throughout the whole video and try to, like, you know, talk some rune strategies with you as well. So yeah, bear with me. So with that that flat stat, actually, I don't mind keeping it because I know my slot 4 on my attack bar boosters, like Bernard, Kabila, that sort of thing. It's not that high, like, and if I could max roll it. Oh, hang on. I'm actually gonna keep this and hope it might roll into like multiple into crit rate, multiple into crit damage or multiple into HP. Let's see how that goes. It's slot 6, so I'm a bit more lenient on slot 6 because it's just so rare. I feel that it is still worth to try to at least, you know, see how the power ups go for that one. But anyway, for that flat stat, as I was saying, don't be afraid to use flat stat for attack bar boosters like Bernard and stuff like that, because they don't really need the main stat that badly. They just want the speed. So if it's a potential upgrade for it, and definitely keep it. I would say like purple and above. Don't bother with don't bother with blues, of course. Legendaries you'll definitely keep as long as it has a speed substat. But obviously you wouldn't bother trying to reappraise it. But that's pretty much the only sort of flat stats I would bother keeping. Of course, like for, you know, main stats. Slot 2 you never keep. Alright, you just automatically sell. 5-star, pretty much always sell. If it's a legendary, you might keep it with if it has a max speed roll. A max speed roll would be 5%. Oh, sorry, 5 flat speed. Right, that's max. Now, those ones I usually will actually roll. But if it's a 5-star, oh, that's actually pretty good. We'll keep that. If it's a 5-star minimum roll is 3 speed. Like the potential, like the potential for that is so much lower, and I usually don't bother keeping those. Or I might keep them and just like, yeah, as soon as it misses a speed upgrade, I just sell it. But you pretty much would need to like max roll every single roll for it to be worthwhile. Alright, I'm gonna switch to Swift to use up the greens. I've been mostly farming giants and necro. I haven't farmed that much dragons, so I've been mostly doing Swift and Will. I'm still thinking about maybe. Oh, hang on. Alright, actually, that's a very good reappraisal runes. We keep that. The reason why that's a really good appraisal rune is because it's got a innate resist. That means I can't roll resist onto as one of the the substats, and that just means I have less chance. Oh, sorry, I should say I have more chance to land, like to get speed as one of the substats, and therefore as long as that speed's there, there's that chance for it, or a better chance for it to get multiple speed rolls. And of course, like slot 1 is also like easier in that you don't have actually this one I'll keep it because it's a potential 23 speed, alright, and it's swift. Like swift, you kind of have to go for it, I think. But for other rune types, usually you want other like good substats in other things as well. Like say Violent, right? Actually no, Violent's not a good example. Maybe something like Nemesis. You still want like good HP and defense on that sort of rune, like on those sort of runes. So that's why I wouldn't usually keep a 5-star of those types. But yeah, as I was saying, sorry I'm jumping around a bit, but for the slot 1 you can't get defense percent, as well as flat defense. Like neither of those can appear on slot 1. So if you have an innate innate stat on slot 1, that's like 3 stats that you can't get from when you re-roll or like when you re-app it. So yeah, like those are the like easiest ones to get to get good speeds on. Also, like surprisingly, despite slot 1s being easier to get speed on because of those reasons. Oh, hang on. Alright, another re-app rune. We can keep it. Like yeah, despite like those reasons, I actually don't have many good slot 1 speed runes for Swift. I think I only have one good slot 1 Swift rune that's above 18. And the reason why I mentioned 18 is because I feel that is sort of the baseline for at least for like fast runes, like fast type runes. The reason for that is because 18 is the maximum roll for blue rune, right? We can keep these, like those two had speed on it, of course, so we can keep those. So yeah, the blue runes, they can have a maximum base roll of 6, and you can double roll, right? So the maximum is 18. Anything above that is like considered purple quality or higher, right? So so that's why I would usually. It's also obviously you require a triple roll to get that. So anything from that onwards is, in my opinion, like good, because it's quite hard to get triple rolls as it is, and even max roll blue runes are quite hard to get, I find. So yeah. For other runes, like the baseline for me is a bit lower for speed. Well, pretty much any other type of rune, I would say the baseline is about 15, like for a good rune, or like a usable rune at least. 18 speed slot 6 wouldn't be awful. I guess I don't really have that much HP slot 6 as well, so I can try to keep that one. Okay, also I wanted to address one other like a common misconception. One common misconception is that a rune is bad if it doesn't have speed, and that's definitely not the case. That's a shame. This one. You know what? This actually could be like a good wall boss rune. That's the only reason I'm keeping this one. But yeah, there's other ways you can utilize certain other runes. Oh, we're getting some pretty good Swift runes today. Alright, let me just switch to Violent. I think I can use a little bit of the reds here. So the reason I say you don't actually speed's not the only thing that you should be looking for. You should still be looking for like tanky runes. You should be looking for defense nuker based runes for things like Copper and Bulldozer. You should be looking for slow high damage runes for things like Lucian and even things like Katarina. Especially Lucian, like these days, most people are actually moving towards like slow Lucians, and you know, obviously for that sort of rune, you just want as much damage stats as possible, right? So, I mean, obviously you're still looking for very specific runes. You're looking for like attack crit damage, attack crit damage, crit rate, sort of runes. Like those are good runes as well. Like even though it doesn't have speed, it's still a good rune. So just this is the reason I mentioned this is because I see this a lot, not only in like my Twitch chat. Like there are people that say like, oh, this rune doesn't have speed, so it's a bad rune. But that's definitely not the case. If you even go through my runes on Swole Farmer stuff. Actually, one sec. Do I want 16 crit? Nah, probably not for blue. No, not for slot 6. Sorry, slot 2. If it was slot 6, I would have kept it. But wait, also on things like places like Reddit, I see a lot of people, you know, ask this question, and also like a lot of people comment saying like, you know, like they comment on shop runes which have no speed and like don't buy it, it has no speed. To me, no speed is not a good enough reason to not buy a rune. It really depends what the other substats are, and you have to look at it on like who could use that rune. You know what I mean? Will with HP? Nah, I think if the other two subsets are a bit more useful, I would have kept it. Like if it at least had maybe defense and res or something, then maybe I would have kept it. Or accuracy. If it had defense accuracy, could have been a like a Sierra rune. Even though it doesn't have speed, like that's an example, right? Because you can always enchant speed if you really need it as well. That's the other thing. Same idea, especially this is probably even more common with Swift. Just because a Swift rune doesn't have speed on it doesn't mean it's bad as well. If you look at things like, if you look at my Tark runes and stuff like that, I actually don't have a lot of speed on those runes, but I still kept them because they have good damage stats. So yeah, don't be afraid to keep those sort of runes. A Swift attacker actually doesn't need to have that much speed on it as well. If it does, well, makes it easier to rune, like to get the required speed, but you don't need it because like the Swift set already gives you like 25% extra speed, right? And you can always enchant it for like the remaining like extra bit of speed that you're looking for. You have to keep in mind that your nuker can't be faster than things like Galleon, right? Okay, almost done. Actually, one other thing I should mention is I actually stopped doing the new rune crafts. Oh, hang on. Oh, okay, that's unfortunate. I'm gonna keep it because it's got speed on it. But as I mentioned before, it's not worth re-apping this. That's really unfortunate. I've been looking for like a good slot 4 to re-app, but I've just never found one. Actually, let me just check. Oh, I need to do violent. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Actually, I just had a bit of a mind blank. Oh, all right, this is good. I don't have many good slot 6, so that has some potential there. Nah, probably not this one. But you'll get used to working out whether it's worth, you know, keeping runes based on speed or not. Anyway, like as you get more experience. Oops. Oh, sorry. What I forgot to mention. Okay, now I remember. So I stopped crafting these fight runes and stuff like that. The reason I think this is also very important to talk about. The reason why I stopped doing it is because my rune piece count has been going down, right? Well, once I started doing the rune crafting, and I don't want it to go down because I want to have a decent surplus so that I don't have to ever worry about like not being able to craft because of that reason, right? And the main thing is, when they changed the material costs, like so the material costs for the like the main elemental crystal and the secondary elemental crystal, right? They reduced the cost from 90-30 to 60-20, right? You can see this 60-20 here, but they do not change the rune piece requirement. It's still the same as before. And when the crystal cost was 90-30, in my opinion, the rune piece cost at the time was like tuned correctly for it. When I used to craft them, I didn't have any trouble maintaining my rune piece count. Basically, after every rune crafting session, I would have about 1,000 rune pieces left as a surplus. Okay, that's when I'm done with all the new runes and also the old runes. Now, as you can see, I'm like lower than 1K now, right? And that's just purely from like having like me crafting those new runes. You can see even if I like crafted all these right now, I actually have quite a few materials for like these new runes, right? If I crafted all these, I'd definitely run out of rune pieces. So until they fix this issue, I don't see like a point in trying to craft them. So if you are farming these new rifts, you can still farm them, right? Because you still get the drops from the rift. You can still get rune drops, but don't bother crafting them. I would save the crystals for now. You can just use the crystals on your reapps. Like you don't really need to farm that many anyway, but it will last you a while if you farm a bunch of them. Because they also need to change the rune piece drop amount for the raid beast, in my opinion. The amount that drops from raid beast is just not enough to cover how much it costs you to craft one rune. So yeah, I would recommend to avoid those for now, but you can still just farm the raid beast and try to get new runes that way. If you're not worried about your rune pieces, if you have a lot already, then fine, you can use some of them up. But like, I would say try to keep a decent surplus just in case, because sometimes you have bad runs where you're not going to get enough rune pieces, and if that happens, you know, you're gonna start accumulating the rune crafting materials and not have rune pieces to craft them. Or you can farm your homunculus. That's the other reason to farm it and get the crystals, right? You can do that too. Alright, so let's start upgrading some of these runes. I should have done that while I was talking about that, but anyway. We'll start with Swift runes. I also have a few extra Violent runes from rune packs that I bought. Overall, I didn't get very lucky, to be honest, like from the rune packs. Alright, this one missed. Like for 5-star runes with minimum roll like this, it's only really useful if you max roll it, right? Because then you can get 20 free speed. Even like you can miss like a couple of rolls, as in like you can. You can get like minimum roll for like one roll. That would still end up to be like around about 20 speed. That's okay, but once you miss a roll, right, it's going to be an 18 speed maximum, and generally speaking, that's not going to be worth like the mana to upgrade it. You can if you are really desperate for like an 18 speed. Like if it's going to be an upgrade, go for it. But if you already have an 18 speed rune in slot 5, I wouldn't bother. Because you can also just get that from like a blue rune, right? Like a blue 6-star. So yeah, unless you have the money to like really, you know, put into the game, I would not buy rune packs unless you need stuff to re-up. But to be honest, I think you can get re-up stuff quite easily, you know, just from just regular farming. Especially if you're not buying re-up packs. If you're buying re-up packs, you might run out of runes, and in that case, okay, maybe fair enough. This one I'm just gonna upgrade it to maybe like +6, just so I can remember that it's a legendary rune which I can re-up. This rune actually is not the worst for world boss. Actually, it's pretty good for world boss because it's all percentage stats. That's like the one redeeming factor about this. But I'll still re-up this because I mean it's a Swift legendary. Can't really complain, right? Or at least I'll keep it in mind. Because I'll probably be re-upping some of the Violent runes first, and there's also some other runes I want to re-up too. Alright, that was a minimum roll, so that's not a good war boss rune anyway. but I'll just leave it there. I'll upgrade the ones that are most important, that will have potential from just purely upgrading. Alright, this one I can actually even keep this one if it rolls into crit rate. Alright, it rolls into crit rate, but I can still roll into it. So it can be, if it's like 16 crit rate, 10 speed, it's like usable. Multiple rolls, like if it's triple roll crit rate, again it would be useful as like a DPS rune, right? Alright, I missed. I've got resistance. I think this is no longer good. I actually like resistance as a stat, but I think this stat combination is too awkward to make it work, so I'm just gonna get rid of it. Alright, this one, we're gonna go for that speed. I think I can forgive one miss roll, right? Because a triple roll will still give me like a pretty good slot 4. I don't have that many good slot 4s, so yeah, I will go for that. Alright, missed once, so pretty much the last chances here. For these, you probably just need to look at what your fastest slot 4 and slot 6 is. It's probably going to be on your attack bar booster, right? Like Bernard or whatever. See what it is, and if you look at the maximum potential roll, is it higher? Like it's on this rune, is it higher than what you currently have? If it's the potential is higher, then you keep rolling. If it's not, you stop. Now for me here, this one could be a 21 speed rune. Okay, no longer, but it could have been. So that's why I kept rolling it to +9. Alright. The only reason I'm rolling this is if it can get to 18 speed. Any less, I probably wouldn't bother. But 18 speed would be like an upgrade for one of my like lower end Swift users. Alright, never mind, I missed. So never mind. Yeah, but it's just because I don't have that many slot 6, right? HP runes. This one, to be honest, it wouldn't be the worst to re-app. I mean, it's not ideal because you're missing out on one roll, but if you think about it, like a triple roll HP is still probably going to be an upgrade for most units. So that's one reason why I might just keep it around. The other reason is because it could be like a decent wall boss rune. Like it's got free percentage stats, which is okay, and I can always enchant the last one on. And slot 6 is pretty hard to get a high efficiency rune. I mean, like, the efficiency on this one is a bit average. I got basically an average of 6% on resist, which is not that good. It's like, you know, very mediocre, right? But it'll probably be better than, you know, most of my slot 6s. So, especially because Swift is a pretty good set for, because a lot of water units are pretty good. They have pretty good scaling on for HP. So this is another reason why. That's pretty much the only reason I'm really keeping this. And like maybe if I'm desperate, I might re-app it. But I think I have plenty of things to re-app anyway. I'm probably not gonna bother. But some people might consider it. It depends what your best slot 6 is. Okay, I'm just gonna take it to +9. Alright, that was pretty bad. Now it looks like a blue rune. I think I'll just keep it for the time being. Just see what I'm gonna work. I want to check on Optimizer to see what the efficiency percentage of it is, and if it's, I think if it's not like at least like 85, I probably would just sell it. But we'll see. I'll upgrade it later. There's no point. Like nothing interesting to see from that, from a viewer point of view. All right. This one again needs to be a triple roll because this is a minimum speed roll. If it was a maximum speed roll, right, then it can at least be like a blue rune, like a high quality blue rune, right? All right, got one. That's good. But 16 is not enough because I know I already have. I mean, my base speeds on slot 1 aren't very high, but I'm pretty sure I have more than, you know, I have plenty of 16s at least. Alright, I missed, so I'm going to sell that one. Okay. Again, for a 5-star rune, you want to get multiple rolls into this. I think I can forgive one, because that can still be a 20 speed roll if I triple roll max. Alright, I missed once. This is the tough part about trying to hunt specific stats. Like, to be honest, the other stats aren't too bad from a raid unit point of view. Like, you could still use crit rate and accuracy for like a stellar, right? But probably not on a 5-star. If it was a 6-star, I probably would be okay with it. But unfortunately, there were like minimum rolls on a 5-star, so we're gonna get rid of that. Alright, this one's gonna be a re-app, but I don't have any re-apps right now. I'll probably do my re-apps tomorrow, or in like a few hours after I post this, when re-apps come back. Well, basically my stream. Actually, it'll probably be like half a day after I post this, but yeah. Alright, that's pretty bad. That's a minimum roll, double minimum roll on the accuracy, including the base roll. So I'm just going to leave it at +6. Usually, whenever one of the things I do is, whenever I find a rune that's a legendary, I never fully upgrade it to +12 unless like it's got potential on the substats. Like if it has speed, crit rate, or like HP and stuff like that, I'll keep upgrading them. But if it's a rune like this, which I know I'm going to re-app, usually I'll leave it at like +6 or +9. That way when I look through my inventory, I can see, alright, this one is definitely a legendary rune, right? Because otherwise, like, if I was looking at this and I took it to +12, it might look like a blue or purple rune. Because, like, one way to tell that a rune is legendary is looking at the last, like the very bottom substat, right? Because you can only upgrade that if it's a legendary, right? But on an 8% accuracy roll is like a max roll, right? So I could have gotten that on a hero rune by max rolling it on the +12 upgrade. So if it wasn't at least +9, then like I couldn't be certain that it was legendary. That's why I usually leave them like a bit upgraded, just to make sure that I remember that it is something that I can re-app. Alright, we'll do the will runes next. This rune, alright, there's two ways I could use this rune. If it triple rolls into crit damage, it could be like a slow Lucian rune or like a slow Kali rune or something like that. If it goes triple HP, it could be a like a Sierra rune or something like that. But it didn't, so I'm gonna get rid of it. It could also be an Anivil rune. I don't have an Anivil, but it's also potentially an Anivil rune, because Anivil usually will be like, you want her to be on will, and rolling high HP on Anivil is like, it helps a lot. Now this is a good bomber rune, or like, you know, Sierra, that sort of thing. Same, actually Anivil too, it could be an Anivil rune. Oh, that's a pretty bad roll. I'm gonna take it at +12, I guess. If it's 12 speed, I might keep it, because it might be useful for my future bombers, which I plan to build with this rune removal. It's not ideal because there's only a blue, but it might just happen to be my best will slot 6, you know. Alright, 11 speed's not the greatest. I'll keep it for now. I need to double check my optimizer to see whether it's good enough. Alright, this rune is a pretty nice rune, like all around. Pretty much can't, I mean, apart from minimum rolls, it can't really go wrong. Like any combination could be good. Like getting high attack could be good for a bomber. High accuracy, actually, yeah, both high attack and accuracy is good for a bomber. Crit rate, obviously any attacker can use it. But even just like a 1 roll into crit rate and 2 into attack could be a good like Fuel Mars rune or something like that, or like some sort of bruiser rune, like a speed bruiser. By the looks of it, it's probably a bomber rune, or even a Sierra rune. It wouldn't be better on a Sierra. Although I don't usually run slot 2 speed on Sierra. Most likely it would go to a bomber. Ideally, I'm hoping for another attack roll. 20% attack will make it pretty nice. It's pretty decent accuracy. Oh my god, it's 1 into each. I mean, I'll still keep it because it's a slot 2 speed, but that's a bit unfortunate. It didn't at least like, if it max rolled the crit rate, I would have been pretty happy actually. But oh well. It's still usable, so I'm going to keep it for now. Alright, this rune, it's only good if I triple roll the speed. So we'll know pretty soon if it's going to be a cell. Alright, it's a cell. Alright, I think actually before I go to the violent runes, before I forget, now that I remembered, I did farm something earlier. I think it was this rune. There we go. And I actually don't know what I would use this for, but it's got speed, so I'm gonna go for it. I guess like if it multiple rolls speed, it could be good for something like a healer or like Eladriel, maybe a Nemesis Eladriel. Alright, went to accuracy. That's unfortunate. Worst case scenario, if I can dodge the HP, like the flat HP, it could be a wall boss rune as well. Because at the moment it's actually decently efficient. Because it's got, I mean, the accuracy roll missed 3%, which is not too bad. And then it's starting with a max crit rate, max speed roll, which is not bad. Oh my god, didn't dodge. Alright, never mind. I think I'm just going to get rid of this, because I don't see any reason to re-up this. I can't really think of a reason why I would want Nemesis slot 2 defense, so I'm just going to get rid of it. I have plenty of things to re-up anyway. Okay. Alright, now we go to the violence. Alright, this one was from crafting. Hopefully we can get like double speed. Actually, even double resist is not the worst. I just want maximum rolls, that's all I want. Alright, that was a minimum roll, but it went to speed, so I can't complain. So I'm just hoping for another... If it's a max resist roll, it'll be okay. But obviously, ideally, it'll be max speed is what I'll be looking for. And of course, this is like a pretty standard, you know, violent user. Like, any support can really use this. Alright, at least it was a max. It did actually do a maximum resist roll, so that's okay. It's usable, even though it's only a blue. But you know, beggars can't really be choosers when it comes to violent slot 6 HP, especially. At least I find HP to be the rarest. I find attacks a lot more, like way more often than I find HP. Alright, unfortunately that was a flat attack. So what I'm looking for, I'm not gonna bother going into plus 12, but I'll keep it for now. What I'm looking for now is defense and or accuracy, right? If I can get one of those, I can enchant the other one over the flat attack. Hopefully I don't get. I mean, the only like bad roll I could get really is flat defense. I'm just hoping that doesn't come to that, but we'll see. Or I'll see later on. Alright, this one, as long as it goes double roll into one stat, I think it'll be fine. Or even like maximum roll 1 in each is okay. But ideally, the easiest way to use this rune would be to have a double roll. Alright, that was a minimum roll into crit rate. That's unfortunate. So I need another roll. I need a max roll into crit rate, and then it'll be fine. If it rolls, even if it rolls into speed, I don't know. I'm not sure if I would bother keeping it. Alright, okay, actually this is actually a pretty good rune now. 15 crit rate. For me, it's like the baseline that I would be chasing. It makes it a lot easier to rune, you know, all your units to max crit rate if you have an average of 15 crit rate on all slots. So yeah, we're definitely gonna keep that. Unfortunately, it wasn't a speed, but I think crit rate actually makes it a bit more easier to use. Okay, that's unfortunate. Not a flat. I'm still gonna keep it anyway. But what I'm hoping for here is crit damage and HP. One or the other, and then I can enchant the other one. I would probably prefer HP because I don't want to use a HP enchant on this. Like crit damage to me is a lot easier to get, like as an enchant. So I would rather hope for the HP roll. And let me just check the slot 5s. I think I found some here. Okay. Now this rune is actually a pretty good 5-star rune. It has all the correct stats for a typical support unit, right? You want your speed, HP, defense, and resist. The only other support stat you might want is accuracy, but the only way for that, like this rune to have that as a possibility is if one of them was in the innate stat. But it's okay. Like these are all the main ones I would want anyway. I value resist more than accuracy on most of my supports. Alright, so we started off with like a double max roll into resist, which I'm actually pretty happy about. So most likely I'm actually going to keep this even though it's a 5-star. I minimum roll it's pretty close to minimum roll on the HP, which is unfortunate, but it's still okay. Like it's still passable. Hopefully I can get a speed roll. Like 2 speed rolls will make it good, of course. But are we okay if I can get like a max roll into HP and defense? Alright, not a resist roll, so it's still okay. I mean, at least it has a good chunk of resist. It means like on my other slots, I don't need as much resist. So you can think of it that way. Even though like it's not ideal to have resist rolls, like generally speaking, but if you have a big chunk of it, it's okay. Because then it makes it easier to rune up like max resist units, especially for PvP. A lot more people are moving towards that for RTA now, just because if any resistance at all in RTA, it's just a huge swing because it means that you're not getting like defense broken, you're not getting stunned, you're not getting stripped. So yeah, like I guess that's why a lot of people are sort of like keeping runes like this now. Would have been a lot better if it was 6-star, of course, but I think it's still okay. Alright, defense. Alright, this is a pretty okay all-round rune. This is actually a pretty good reviver rune, because revivers don't need that much speed on them. They do, however, want max res. They want like a decent amount of defense and HP, so this is okay. We can keep that for now. Alright, this rune. This is a pretty good rune. Probably one of the better ones that I got from the packs. Actually, I think I only got one main stat from like 10 packs, which is pretty unfortunate. But oh well. Oh, there we go. Good. One maximum speed roll. That's a good start. As long as I can dodge the defense, I think this will be a pretty good rune all around. I mean, defense is not the worst, but obviously I want the other stats more. This rune I might actually take to +12, even though it might take a little longer for me to do the video, but bear with me. Unfortunately, I don't really have time to edit this, so that's why the video will have to take quite a while. Oh, actually, that's not too bad. Right, even though it's not speed, it was a maximum crit rate roll, so now it's a pretty solid rune, and I still have 2 more rolls. Hopefully I can get 1 more roll into either speed or crit rate, and it'll be a pretty good rune already. I mean, it'll be easy to put onto a unit. The defense I can always enchant off too, but I probably wouldn't because it's a maximum roll. You even never know like who would prefer the defense or not. I mean, defense is never a bad thing. Even on something like a Field Mars, like don't neglect defense. It makes a huge difference. At least for me, like I've tried using Field Mars with like very low defense, like around like 650, 700 sort of defense, and I changed it to 1k defense, and he was just like significantly more tankier. Even with the same, like, well, roughly around the same amount of HP. Our crit damage is okay. At least it was a decent roll. Right, so 1 more roll. It's a pretty all-round average rune, but that's okay. It's still usable. It just means like if I don't roll into speed or crit rate, it just means that my other runes have to make up for that stat. But this rune will provide like at least good crit damage, right? If I double roll it. I guess this is also like a thing that I wanted to mention is like, even though this rune didn't triple or quad roll speed, this is still a good rune because it's still providing you all the standard damage stats, which is crit damage, speed, crit rate, right? Assuming you dodge the defense, that means it's like 4 rolls plus base rolls of those stats, and that's pretty huge in itself, right? It's providing more than like even two blue quality runes, you know. Okay, I didn't dodge the defense unfortunately, but it's still an okay rune. Like, it's good all round, and I can't really complain. So I'm gonna keep that for now. It's definitely, I wouldn't bother re-upping this. I think I'll just keep it the way it is. I mean, I have other things to re-up anyway. Like this one is most likely going to be a re-up, but there is a chance for this to be a pretty nice rune. Like, I wouldn't mind crit rate and resist, and then crit damage would be actually prefer more resistant crit damage on this rune. Alright, crit damage, pretty good start. The reason I would like resist on this rune is because it could be like a permanent upgrade for me. The flat attack, I can change it to either HP or speed depending on what my permanent needs, and that would depend on the other like slots. And I don't mind resist because, like, for PvP, even like guild war defense units, having high resist units can make a pretty big difference. Like, that makes them a lot harder to kill. But if it rolls into resist, I need it to be max rolls. And that's oh, okay, crit rate, can't complain. I guess that's the bad thing about resist, is it has such a large range, like 4 to 8. I feel like they need to narrow it down to like at least 5 to 8, and then it'll be okay. But yeah, if it max rolls, then it's good, or like near max. I just pretty much, as long as I dodge that flat attack, it's okay. Okay, now this is already a good blue quality rune, right? Because I got 2 rolls into, actually no, it's a good purple rune. Never mind, my bad. Because I got 2 rolls into crit rate, 1 into crit damage, so I can't complain. Even, no matter how this last upgrade goes, I will still upgrade it because, as I said, like, I will do it for any rune that has really high potential. But yeah, like, a good quality purple rune, in my opinion, is already going to be good. So if I can get 1 more roll into a useful stat, then that's a pretty good. Oh, alright, that's a nice rune. Even though that minimum rolled, I actually minimum rolled twice, but you know, it ends up being a pretty nice rune, right? It's better. Actually, let me think. As far as maximum on a purple rune, it's got it's at least better than that. Alright, so yeah, so I can enchant that flat attack off and make that a pretty useful one. I was actually expecting that one to be a re-app, but turned out better than I thought. This one though, most likely will be a re-app. The only way this could be good is if I get very high roll, maximum rolls into HP and attack percent. Like, any combination actually would be okay. Okay, that was a low roll, that's not good. But the reason why HP attack would be good is because it can be used on things like the attack power scaling healers. They can make use of that. I would just need to like enchant speed or even defense maybe over one of the flats. But I think this one will end up being a re-up because that 11% is well, it's below average from 2 rolls, so it's not good enough. I'm just gonna leave it at +6. Alright, it rolled the flat anyway, so I'm gonna leave that for re-upping later on. Alright, we'll look at slot 1. Okay, so this one is a pretty nice. This could be a good Galleon rune. Even like a Violent Hua would like it. Sierra could use it too. If I dodge the flat HP and get accuracy. Just trying to think of like violent users that care about accuracy. Well, we'll see how these upgrades go first. I mean, so far I got 1 into speed, which is obviously really good. Okay, crit damage. Okay, it's okay. It's still actually. You know what? This could be a very good Necro rune. If I get multiple crit damage, a little bit of accuracy is okay too for that, because you do want accuracy on Necro units, like things like your Lich, or whoever has like debuffs really. This could be like a good Lich rune because you want like a little bit of speed, but not that much. Oh, okay, never mind. Well, that's a maximal speed, so this is good for anyone. But assuming it didn't, like, let's just assume that it didn't roll into speed. If it rolled into crit damage and accuracy, you can still use it on a Lich because what you'll do is you use slot 4 crit rate, and if you have multiple crit damage rolls, it means you're making up for the lack of slot 4 crit damage, alright, by using these sort of runes. So these are runes that even if any multiple crit damage roll rune is worth keeping for that purpose. It's mostly just because you're gonna run out of crit damage runes, especially for like because Necro you will want to have crit damage, or actually sorry, you want violent revenge on all your units, right? Or most of your units at least. That's a lot of crit damage runes required, and you're gonna need crit damage runes on your main PvP units as well. So to get around that, for me, I usually just use slot 4 crit rate and then stack high crit damage runes like this one. So now it's also got a potential 23 speed roll, which would definitely be my fastest slot 1. I don't think I have anything faster than that, or even like equal speed. But also worst case scenario, it's like at worst a Galleon rune, because Galleon wants accuracy as well. So alright, okay. So you roll into accuracy. It's a pretty decent Galleon rune, or like even like a Necro rune worst case scenario. Well, we'll keep that anyway. Okay, this one's okay if I can get the crit rate, crit damage only. And then, depending on what it rolls on plus 12, like what I will be hoping for is either speed or attack, and then I can take off the accuracy for the other substat that I want. Alright, 1 into crit rate is okay. It's a low roll, but if I can get 1 more into it and then 1 into crit damage, it will be a pretty good all-round rune, I would say. And I do have attack percent in chance as well, so I think ideally I want to roll speed or HP in the for the last roll. And that innate resist is a nice little bonus. Alright, now it's a usable rune. It's not a minimum roll, but can't complain. Actually, not really minimum. It's a medium roll, sorry. But overall, like 14% is just below like my usual like threshold or like benchmark that I aim for on crit rate. But it's at least usable. Can't complain. If I go into accuracy, actually no, I'm not sure. I would probably have that. It might be used on like a Necro rune if I need the crit rate. Alright, so yeah, it looks like it might be a Necro rune. I'll keep it for now. It's not like amazing though, but it's okay for now. Or at least I'll check later. Alright, this rune, we're obviously going for HP and crit rate, or like just purely multiple in HP and resist would be okay as well as a support unit. Let's just see. Okay, so 1 into HP. So the way this could be good for like a support unit is something like a beast monk could use it, or like any healer that doesn't need to be too fast, or like a reviver who just wants like a lot of HP and res. Right? Because if all 4 roles get to HP and res, then it's a pretty it's a pretty good support rune, right? And now I just need to enchant speed onto it. Unfortunately, I did like 2 minimum rolls onto HP, so now actually it's like equivalent of a purple rune, or like purple rune max potential, because you can get 15% from a blue rune, but, you can get it from a green rune actually. But I mean, it's still worth upgrading. I mean, purple quality rune is still okay for violent. From a late game perspective anyway. Alright, crit rate, it's pretty good. Now it's a decent bruiser rune. Unfortunately, the attack percent is ungrindable, but it's still like a nice little bonus. So what would be enchanting would be I'll be getting rid of the flat HP, hopefully, and putting either crit damage or speed onto it, and that'll be a good bruiser rune, or like even just like a beast monk wouldn't mind this sort of rune. Either HP or crit rate is what I'll be looking for here. Either way, like, that would make it a good rune. Alright, now it's a good rune now. It's got wait, it was a minimum roll on crit rate, but it's above my benchmark of crit rate, so that's good. I mean, worst case scenario, I could actually use this on something like Beth, because Beth doesn't really need speed, so I could use that on her, and just put like crit damage on HP if I wanted to. So yeah, good rune. We'll keep that. Alright, this one I only kept it because it's like YOLO speed, but even 16 speed is not that great on a slot 1, but I feel I may as well go for it. I mean, it doesn't really cost me anything. It doesn't cost me much to go for it, so yeah. Alright, it missed, so I'm going to sell that. Alright, this rune, I kept it because it can go for double speed. I don't know if I would even really use it. 17 speed would be okay, but it's a pretty low quality one. Because a lot of the units that I would use a slot 4 attack on would want good substats, right? And it wants like more than just speed. But we'll see how we go. I mean, if it's 17, you can't really complain for a main slot. I guess we could just pray that the +9, +12 turn out okay. At least something grindable would be nice. Alright, never. It missed, so I'm just get rid of it. 11's definitely not good enough. Okay, this one is. I think this one's gonna be re-up regardless. I can't see any way for this to be useful at all. But it has the potential to be a good Sierra rune, or a good Miang or Huahi rune as well. Alright, so I've got the flat. Alright, let's take it to +6. But yeah, this is actually another nice re-up rune because it has the innate flat attack. So it's a nice little small bonus, right? And it means I can't get that as one of my substats, which is really nice. It just improves the overall quality of my, my rolls, or like my potential rolls. Alright, so I'm gonna leave that there. Let's see. Alright, this one, another potential bruiser rune. Or it can also be like a tanky rune too, like a good, like a support rune if I roll HP and res, and I can enchant speed onto it if that happens. We'll see, but I think worst case scenario I can always re-up this anyway. If they become low rolls, then it's going to be a re-up rune. Because I think that's the only way I can really ruin this, I guess. Or if it goes 1-1-1. Alright, it's pretty low roll, so most likely it's going to be a re-up. I'll take it to +9 and then leave it there. The only way you could save this rune is if it goes double max roll into crit rate. That will make it a 16 crit rate rune, and that'll be usable. It'll be okay. And what I would probably do then is enchant speed over the crit damage, and that would be okay. Alright, we're almost done. Surprisingly, I haven't used as much mana as I would normally do. Alright, so he missed. Actually, it was another pretty low roll in resistance. So yeah, that one's gonna get re-apped. Alright, this one, I kept it because it's got max rolls into res and HP. There's no speed again, but these runes are worth upgrading because if you get maximum rolls, it's still a good rune, and you can definitely use it on something. Okay, that wasn't a max roll, but overall it's okay. Like it's a average of 7%, which is not that bad. You can always use this on things like beast monks, and any support can use it too. Any healer. Healers always want, HP and res, so yeah, as long as I can get some max rolls. Beast monks can also use this if I go like one more HP and one crit rate, it will be okay. Unfortunately, that was a minimum roll, so if I want this to be useful in terms of crit rate, I would need I need a max roll into crit rate. It could have also been a Wind Panda rune for me if I had rolled like a combination of resistance and HP, because then all I would really need is a defense roll for the plus 12, or I can enchant it on. But unfortunately, rolling to crit means like it's bad for Wind Panda, or rather, it's not useful. It's not that useful. It's like, yeah, because the thing is, Wind Panda doesn't scale off crit rate or crit damage. Well, because his passive, like the damage comes from his passive, and the passive doesn't crit. So yeah. All right, it did actually roll into crit rate, but it was a low roll. Right, it's like 2 minimum rolls. So I think I'm gonna get rid of this. It's no longer worthwhile. Alright, I think that's all of them actually. Yeah, that's all the runes I had. So I'm gonna leave it here. The video's already almost an hour, so my bad on that. But I hope that was useful for you. It gives you these videos I hope gives you an idea of what kind of runes I keep, how when I upgrade them, what am I looking for, and like some of the units that would like to use that sort of rune. So this is always what you should be thinking about when you find and upgrade runes yourself. Think about like who could it be useful for on your units. If it's not useful for one of your units, is there a unit that you might get in the future that it could be potentially good for, or like worth saving for? And yeah, so I'm gonna leave it here. Thanks guys for watching, and I hope I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.